Welcome back, guys. I hope you're all doing well. Something you may not know about me is that I love planes and I want to be a pilot, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So I've flown flight sims since Flight Unlimited 2 back in the 90s. Then I moved on to Microsoft Flight Sim in 2002. Then 2004 version, then FSX, and then last year I jumped over to Xplane 11 and I was very impressed. So we're going to do a quick little flight today from a small airport in the Grand Canyon over the plateaus and into Las Vegas. Doing that in the King Air C90, which is a fast little twin turboprop GA aircraft. I'm not an expert in flying all planes, so if I get anything wrong just let me know in the comments, because I would like to know how to fly a bit more realistically. I'm not doing things by the book, just for fun sort of thing. So let's put on our headsets and jump in the cockpit. Right, so this is our cockpit, and we'll just set the lights. We've got the engines running already. Pitot heats, I think that has to go on. And stall warning, I think that should go on as well. Make sure all these are on, and of course we've got to let some kind of airspace know our intention. Juliet Alpha Yankee, taxi to runway 2, departing runway 2, fly runway heading, circle the airspace, departing to the west, Juliet Alpha Yankee. Okay, and now that's all good to go. Let's just get all this done, and then we should be out of here and ready to taxi. Okay, so let's do a quick one, a couple of checks, make sure everything's clear left hand side. Everything's clear. Let's bring up our map and do a double check that we are departing to the west. That's correct. And let's double check that on our Avitab map. A bit of a tongue twister. So you can see there we're in the part of the Grand Canyon, and we're leaving there. We'll be circling the airport in order to gain altitude to get out of the canyon, and then we'll be climbing to our cruise altitude. Not a very long flight. I think it takes about an hour in real life, an hour and a little bit more. Of course going to be cut down for this video, but we are ready to taxi, so let's power up the engines a little bit. The check on the left hand side to make sure we're clear. This is actually the taxiway. It's a tiny little airport. It's got one little taxiway that goes to a fueling station, and there's one little building and a house, a little car park and an electric substation, and that's all that's here. That's the car park just there. We throttle up a little bit more already on the taxiway. Juliet Alpha Yankee, taxi for takeoff. Very narrow runway, but it's quite long. Gives us enough length to take off. And then once we put it to the runway, we'll just stop there, line ourselves up, sync our heading for the autopilot. Put the brakes on there. Okay, so we want... what do we want? I want to make sure that our altitude is set. So we put that at about 15,000. And that will do. So I'm going to level us off at a certain point anyway. When it feels just right above the weather. Okay, that's our heading synced to the autopilot, and we can put a bit of throttle in there, hold the brakes, gather up a little power, release the brakes, full power, and off we go. Airspeed's alive. We're looking at about 80 knots to rotate. That's 80 knots, we'll pull back on the stick. And we are airborne. Gears go up. And the flaps come up there as well. And while we just set our autopilot up, just tell airspace what we're doing. Juliet Alpha Yankee, clear of the runway. Okay, so check out the right window and the left window. Everything looks clear, so let's start our turn now to gain some altitude and get out of the canyon. I like this plane, you know. I've got to say my favourite general aviation aircraft in Xplane 11 is probably the Beechcraft Baron. But it's just not as quick as this, and I'm not really one for slow flying. I usually fly the 737. I haven't actually flown a GA aircraft in a long time. But I did just purchase True Earth Great Britain South, and that's really got to be appreciated through the low and slow flying, so I thought I'd brush up on my general aviation skills a little bit. So doing our turn there again, and looks like we've got enough altitude to go straight ahead, full turning over the canyon top. So we'll go ahead and push that heading button. And visibility is not too great today. I think it's around about 20 miles. It shouldn't really have any problems seeing the runway once we get in range. So here you can see we're just about to top over the very top of that canyon. And then we will start our ascent to our cruise altitude. So we've got quite a long way to go. This, like I said, this flight takes about an hour. I'm not going to be doing all of it. Well, I'm not going to be showing all of it. At least I will be flying the whole route myself. But as we're flying mostly over the desert, I'll be skipping the boring parts out. I do want to talk a little bit about why I switched over from FSX to Xplane. And to cut it short, you know, I used FSX for a long time, and I only switched over to Xplane last year. And, you know, down to 3 points mainly: frames per second, stability, and the fact that Xplane is a 64-bit software, whereas FSX is a 32-bit, and FSX was giving me around about 15 frames a second on my old computer, which I used for a long time up until about 2 years ago. But Xplane is just on another level, you know. It's 64-bit system, it's stable, it's in development all the time, you know, it's getting added to and stuff like that. FSX is, even though been taken over by Dovetail, it's, you know, it's still being having things developed for it, like add-ons and things, but it's never going to get any better, and it's never going to run any better. Whereas Xplane, they're working on some really cool tech, I don't know what to call it, but frame rates and stability should be improving massively again soon, so I'm excited about that. If you want to check out more about that, go and check out the Xplane website and check out the words from the developers. So I'm just about to skip through this part of the flight, and you can see here we're just coming up to Lake, what's it called? I'm not sure, guys, put it in the comments, but I think it's Lake Mead. I think I've got that wrong, but I'm not sure. But there's the city of Las Vegas, so just looking out from the airport there, see how far we've got to go. And now I think we'll start our descent pretty much. But yeah, definitely would recommend, if you're getting into flight sims, that like Xplane is a really good starting point. It gives you a tutorial straight at the beginning when you first launch up the thing that will tell you about the basics of flight and stuff like that. If you already know that kind of thing, then you can skip that and go straight ahead and start flying. It's really easy, really simple. It didn't take me a day to get comfortable using it after switching from FSX. I had to watch a couple of tutorials, that sort of thing, but that was it. And the other thing I've got to say as well, because I usually fly 737, I'm talking about the Zibo 737, and that, just hands down, is one reason to switch if you fly airliners in FSX, to switch over to Xplane and use that, because it is freeware, and you know, the next best thing costs like 60, 70 pounds, and you know, you're getting that for free, and it's so detailed and so well simulated, and such a joy to fly as well. And the 737 is my favourite aircraft. Why is it my favourite aircraft? And that is because it was the first plane I think I ever flew on. It's the plane I think I've flown on probably the most, flying to and from Ibiza, from England. So it's a flight that I always do as well, and I'm probably going to do a video of that really soon. So let's get back into our flight a little bit. We are descending. We are at 3,000 feet almost, and we can see the runway. We're a little bit high, and well, the speed is sort of okay. I'll slow it right down when we get there. I do believe I'm already at first set of flaps, just skipping ahead there. I'm very, very bumpy on the way in, very bumpy. This was, I'm quite proud of this approach actually, considering the turbulence, but yeah, it was very bumpy, not easy at all. You can see the Las Vegas skyline there in the distance. Trying to keep us lined up with the runway as much as I can, watching the altitude, watching the speed. Of course, I haven't got the altitude set properly, so it's really of no importance. I'm just waiting out for my annunciator to say 500, there we are. Happy light's still way off, but again, like I say, for my first time, well not my first time, but my third or fourth time flying this plane in a long time, I know, probably about a year, I don't think this was such a bad landing in all fairness. But I mean, look at this, to get this kind of look out of FSX, you gotta plough so much money into it. And this is, you know, pretty much just vanilla. Here we go then, about to bring the engines back and flare the nose. And we are down. Slamming the brakes on pretty hard here. And retract the flaps. We're on a massive runway. So looking at that again out the window. Lovely view of the sunset. Like I said, very, very bumpy on the way in. Very bumpy, very hard to keep all those things monitored, the altitude and the airspeed. Okay guys, that's the end of our flight arriving here at Las Vegas. If you've enjoyed this, leave a like. If you want to see some more, subscribe. Like I say, definitely going to do that flight from England, probably once I've got the Orbex scenery installed to Ibiza, or possibly the other way around, but until then, see you next time guys.